Hey guys. Okay, I think I'm live. So I'll just wait a moment, see if anybody hops on. And if you are here, if you're catching the replay, just say hi so I can catch up with you later. I'll just pull this up on my phone. I'm really excited for today's little chat. And I'm just generally actually really excited for the Mercury retrograde. So we'll talk about that. And I hope that some people come on live because I did want to pull some cards. So if you're here, say hi and we'll dive in. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things. We'll talk about, of course, Mercury retrograde. I have 3 tips for you guys that I'm going to just channel. And I want to share a little bit about that. And I have an awesome offer as well for anybody who wants to go a little bit deeper with this, or a lot deeper. I want to share cards from this awesome deck, Magical Dimensions. And then I also want to share a little bit about some changes happening here at my company. So I'm excited. So let me, in the meantime, I see somebody's here, but just say hi if you're here. I want to pull up the dates so that I can give you some dates and stuff as well for Mercury's retrograde. Okay, so if you're plugged in, you have them all. You have everything broken down, but I want to give them to you anyway. We're already definitely in the pre-shadow phase. We have been for a few weeks, so you've already been getting a taste of what your Mercury retrograde is going to be like. Not to mention, we have so many other planets retrograde right now, so it's kind of funny to like separate it out, but it is its own unique little event. So we'll talk about that. But for the record, for everybody who needs it, and just say hi if you're here. We have, okay, so Mercury is going to station retrograde Thursday in Cancer. And then Mercury retrograde lasts 3 weeks, right? So it's going to be retrograde through around July 11th. And then from July 12th to the 26th, and you know, this depends on your time zone, but just roughly, we'll have the post-shadow period. So we're not going to be really in the clear again in terms of Mercury till, let's see, just again, July like 27th-ish. So, you know, just put that in your calendar just to be aware. Hey, Erica. Hey, love. Hey, Kelly. Welcome. So let me know how you guys are doing. Are you excited? How do you guys feel about Mercury retrograde in general? I'd really love to hear. You know, do you have like a positive feeling towards it? Are you scared of it? I know a lot of people, obviously, it's like, you know, what do they call it? The pumpkin spice latte of astrology. So there's a lot of like pop astrology stuff, as you guys know. I've talked about this a lot in the past, but I feel like we're beyond that already at this point, and you know that I'm so here for like reclaiming these cycles, which is what they really are, and they're really they're part of our universe, and they're part of our natural cycles, and the more that you can really understand that and like relate to them in that way, the more you're going to get out of them, and the more you're going to be, you know, really living in tune with things. So Kelly said, I honestly love Mercury retrograde. That's awesome. Yeah, and you love the slow down time and time to review. Yes, that's amazing. I love to hear that. So I wanted to first speak to the 3 tips that I have for you guys for Mercury retrograde. So you know, one thing, and this isn't going to count as one, but like, don't get a haircut. Just please. Just please don't. Don't do anything that is going to, how do I even want to say this? Hey, Alyssa. Like, the reason why, and I've gotten bad haircuts. Like, one time I just wanted to test it out, and I got like the worst haircut of my life, and it was definitely Mercury retrograde. But the reason why is it's not about the haircut. Do you know what I mean? It's not about the haircut. I'm not going to say that you can't get a great haircut, but what I realized that for me was like the reason I was getting the haircut, and especially at that time when I did it during the Mercury retrograde, was I was not really acting from my own center of power. Okay. Oh my God. Good, Eric. Good. Yes. So I'm sure other astrologers may be like, no, just don't do it during Mercury retrograde, because people tend to mess things up or whatever it is. I honestly think that it's deeper than that, and I think that it's because, you really want to do things during a Mercury retrograde, or really any retrograde, but Mercury in particular, and I'll get into why. You want to do things with like real, like total intention, and it's something to think about. Like if you're going to be getting the haircut, like just ask yourself like why. Do you know what I mean? Like I told you guys I worked with the hair shaman, and our hair has a lot of power, and this is funny that this is even coming up, but like the moon is in Taurus right now. So I've been thinking a lot about like beauty ever since I woke up. And like so much of what I think we do is just based on external standards. You know what I'm saying? So like when I would go be getting haircuts oftentimes, it was not coming from like my own power, because like really at the end of the day, I don't think cutting my hair is ever my truth. I never want to cut my hair. And that was the lesson that I got from that haircut. On a surface level, it's like, oh yeah, don't cut your hair because of Mercury retrograde. But that's what you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like there's a deeper meaning there and a deeper lesson and message for us beyond just like sending a message to the wrong person or like deleting your entire phone. Do you know what I mean? You don't want that to happen. You don't want it to happen, but like we want to go to the root of why. Okay, so I'm getting way ahead of myself here, but anyway, we'll get into it. So what I wanted to say was, first off, okay, when it comes to Mercury retrograde, why is Mercury retrograde such a significant one? Okay, so here's the deal. Because we know that we have like Venus retrograde and a lot of the outer planets retrograde, but Mercury is a special one, and here's why. In astrology, right, we have the sun and the moon, which are actually called luminaries. They're not considered planets in anywhere really, but even in the act of astrology, you talk about them like as though they're like the other planets, but they're actually not. And I've done videos on the sun and the moon. But right after the sun and the moon, which are our most personal planets, is Mercury. Okay, so Mercury is the messenger planet. Okay, Mercury is Hermes. And Mercury is the bridge between the self, like the real inner self, like the soul self, which is, like I said, the luminaries, like the sun and the moon are very, very close to who we are. And then, Venus and Mars and so on and so forth. So Mercury has a very unique role in terms of astrology and in terms of this greater system. Hey Betsy, welcome. So the reason why Mercury retrograde is really significant is, first off, Mercury is a very quick moving planet. Okay, Mercury as a planet that is constantly on the move, okay? Unlike, let's say, Venus and Mars, who move just a little bit slower, but Mercury is always pretty much close to the sun, okay? Mercury is a quick-moving planet, first off, and Mercury is, like I said, the messenger. So there's this activating quality similar to the moon, which I've spoken about, where you know how we kind of track our energy with the moon, because the moon is obviously super quick and moves around the whole zodiac every month. But Mercury has a similar kind of role in that Mercury is an activator and a bridge between the earthly plane and the celestial spheres. I can never say that word properly. So in mythology, in Greek mythology, you know, Hermes would literally travel between the worlds and would be the messenger between the gods and, you know, the higher realms or whatever and the humans. Okay, and so that's why Mercury retrograde is really significant and we feel it a lot more. As opposed to, let's say, like, you know, Pluto retrograde or whatever, which is still significant, but it's not as personally felt for us. Okay, this is literally like the messenger, you know, the whole messenger system. It's like the postal system, right, between the higher spiritual realms and here the earthly plane, the material plane, on a very personal level. Now, Mercury also stations retrograde 3 times a year, thrice a year, and that's significant, right? So these are, I think of it as the 3 yearly portals, the 3 yearly. This is a great analogy. I never thought of this before, but it's like imagine the postal system. Every, you know, 3 times a year does kind of just a cleanup, you know what I'm saying, and a reorganizing, and you know, maybe certain letters were sent to the wrong person, or somebody moved, or you know, this person has changed their frequency, or whatever it is, and it's like, okay, let's just clean things up, let's get rid of the old. Okay, so that's what's happening. So with Mercury retrograde, um, obviously we take into account what else is going on, right? We never just look at things in a vacuum. But we also take into account where it's happening in terms of the sign, and then we also take into account on a more personal, individual level where it's happening inside of your chart, which is really, really useful. So, I just want to take a quick look here, 1 second. As we've shared, you know, we have lots of planets in retrograde right now, and Mercury is just going to kind of add to that. So if you're thinking like, okay, how does this fit into the context of, you know, like Jupiter retrograde and Pluto and Saturn and Venus for a little bit longer, then we have like Mercury, right? So what it is that it's going to kind of like heighten the other retrogrades, the experience of that, and it's going to just bring things out on a more conscious level from the subconscious of ourselves individually, but also of the collective. Okay, so this is all going to be happening in the sign of Cancer. Okay, so I'm going to go very in depth into this during feedback, which is the Mercury retrograde upgrade group experience that is starting Thursday along with the retrograde itself. So you can totally join that, and we're going to go really in depth into not only what Mercury retrograding in Cancer is all about and the whole context of everything else that's going on, but we're also going to be going into each person's individual chart. So you're going to have an opportunity for me to look at your chart, for me to give you direct channeled guidance and, you know, a framework for what's happening, what's really coming forth for you with this specific Mercury retrograde. Okay, so you can, of course, go ahead and do that yourself. Look at your chart, find 14 degrees Cancer in your chart, see what house that is. But this is for the person who really wants that more guided, like, you know, accountability and supported process of really taking this retrograde as an opportunity for clearing out old beliefs and thought patterns and mental processes, you could even say, about yourself and about your world and about your business and your life and whatever's coming up for you specifically. and having the that extra set of eyes, right, mine, but everybody else in the experience as well, to reflect back to you in a safe space. Okay, here's, what we are able to see, and helping you to really leverage it for your own growth. Because as I shared yesterday in an email as well, ever since I really started working with Mercury retrograde consciously and intentionally, the retrogrades really are phenomenal times, not just in my business, like in terms of sales and success and things like that, but they always kind of reset a new cycle for me, and they have served me to be able to really stay more true to myself, and really kind of lighten the energy, let go of what's not working anymore, and move forward in a much more aligned way after the retrograde. So, it's not just about surviving or whatever, or thriving during Mercury retrograde, but really seeing it as this reset and this doorway, right, to really accessing a new pathway for your own success. So I'm really, really excited about feedback, and it's one of my I think best programs that I've done, and it's really, I'm putting in the link in case you want to check it out. There we have a payment plan. It's I designed it to be accessible, and if you really want to join, just you can go ahead and sign up on the link. If you have any questions, let me know. But like I said, during feedback, I will be helping you to really tap in and understand what this all means for you. So for today, before we get into the cards, I want to give you the 3 tips about how to really work with this Mercury retrograde. And then if you do want to go deeper, I know you'll love feedback, and it's just such an awesome thing to work with and to experience, to really understand, well, what is coming up for me, and instead of like perhaps denying it, or like getting that bad haircut, or like dropping your phone in the toilet, or whatever it might be, that might happen, you never know with Mercury retrograde, but at least you'll have the support and the space to really understand its message for you, and then you can really create amazing things with that. So it's like this little incubator, that's the word that's coming up for me, in which we really get to shed the old, align with the new, and then go ahead and really upgrade and update our minds, which is essentially where we create all of our reality from, accordingly. So being that this is all happening in the sign of Cancer, what's really fascinating about that is, Cancer is the divine feminine, divine mother. So this is very fertile energy. So I'm going to say this. For this upcoming Mercury retrograde, tip number 1 is don't be too sensitive, okay? So Cancer, Mercury in Cancer, just in general, and Mercury in any of the water signs is going to be quite sensitive, okay? Because Mercury rules the nervous system and communications and the way we perceive and understand. It's our doors of perception. And when it's in the sign of Cancer, Mercury functions in a very sensitive way and a really intuitive way. There's like this very sensitive to energy, and very sensitive to other people's energy. So don't be too sensitive, okay? So during Mercury retrograde, my number 1 tip is don't take things so personally, okay? Really, really have good boundaries with yourself, first and foremost, because the truth is that when it comes to boundaries, it's never about the other person. It's about yourself. So have good boundaries with yourself. If you're finding that you're feeling extra sensitive or raw to other people or to your surroundings or your environment, that's your cue to really, spruce up your boundaries, okay? Tip number 2 for Mercury retrograde in Cancer is to read the room. Okay, that's always a tip. But before putting yourself out there, before going and speaking, read the room. Read your surroundings, okay, because Cancer does rule surroundings in our home and our environment. Okay, so if you find that during Mercury retrograde you are noticing a lot of feedback that is making you feel uncomfortable, or you're getting feedback that is making you feel unsafe in some way, take that step back, read the room, and ask yourself, do I even want to be in this room, right? A big part of feedback that I love so much, and hey, Libby, by the way, oh my God, I love that. That is a year ago. I saw that too. Isn't that amazing? So with this, okay, ask yourself, do I even want to be in this room? Right? And leave it if you don't, right? Like a big part of feedback that I love is that we change the channel in our life. This is about changing the channel. If you don't want to be there, just leave. You know, it's fine. And you know, if that is a genuine act of self honoring and you know self respect and self love, then that is sacred. Okay, now that's different than leaving because you don't want to face something or you don't want to look at something that's coming up for you. But give yourself that permission to actually read the room and see what's actually going on and act accordingly. Okay, I don't even know why I'm sharing this, but that's coming up, so I guess somebody here needs to hear that. What else do I want to say about that? With reading the room, especially in the online space, okay? So decide where you want to be, decide what type of energy you want to surround yourself with, and don't be afraid to remove yourself from toxic situations or toxic environments. And don't guilt yourself into staying, okay? You have to be your own best friend, is really what it is. Okay, the tip number 3 that I want to give for this upcoming Mercury retrograde is, well, I don't even know. So I told you guys I was just going to come on and channel. Let me just feel into the energy for a moment, and then I'll pick a card. I really want to say, this is coming up, I'm just going to go with it. Have discipline, okay? Have discipline with yourself. Oftentimes what I see coming up in my own life and then with clients during Mercury retrograde is literally just a direct reflection of where they're not, you know, not their inner cosmos, right, is not honoring themselves, like I was saying before, and that's being directly reflected, and it's, you know, it's just more evident during Mercury retrograde. So have discipline with yourself, okay? The worst thing you can do during a Mercury retrograde is wake up, like, and this is every day, but it's even worse. Like, wake up, roll out of bed, have no intention to your day, just like let the day take you. Do you know what I'm saying? Hey, Margie. So, have discipline this Mercury retrograde. It's going to be important, and that's going to tie back into number 1 with the sensitivity. People are already telling me they're feeling very raw, they're feeling very vulnerable, they're crying for no reason. And obviously, we're all going through, and I shouldn't say obviously because it's not obvious, but we're all going through major shifts, and we're all on our own journey of healing. And discipline, you might not think that that's what's called for, but Capricorn is going to be the medicine that's going to be most helpful for us during this Mercury retrograde because it's the opposite. And so that whole axis is going to be illuminated right now, and things are going to be coming up around that for us. So we're going to be, you know, shown where we're not having enough discipline with ourselves, where we're maybe having too much discipline with ourselves, or too much, you know, rigidity and inflexibility and, you know, holding on too tight to certain things, and let those things fall away. But at the same time, like what I'm picking up on just energetically in the group for everybody here, that message was, have the discipline with yourself. Know what you want. Know what you want to say. Know what you want to, you know, contribute. And stand firm in that, okay? Because the thing about Cancer is it's like the ocean, she rules the ocean, right? So what happens when we're in the ocean, right? The tide can kind of like take us away, right? What's that called? The undertow, right? Don't get taken away. Stand firmly. Open your heart, but stand firm on your feet. And have that daily discipline to wake up each day, ground yourself, know where you're at, know what you're available for and what you're not available for. And that's going to really help you for this Mercury retrograde. Okay, so I want to share some cards. And I want to also, once again, welcome and invite you to join me inside of feedback. I dropped the link. It's going to be fantastic. I'm so excited. We're going to work with this retrograde in depth. I'm going to be channeling the whole time. I'm going to be sharing with you direct feedback as to how you can release years and lifetimes, even sometimes, patterns, beliefs, mental feedback loops and things like that based on what is coming up for you based on your chart. And it's a process. So Mercury's retrograde is not random, okay? It has its own intelligence. It has its own wisdom and cycle that we want to tap into, and that's what we're going to do during feedback. I'm going to help you walk through those gateways and portals confidently, surrounded by love, surrounded by support, so that you can go in and bring forth what is ready to be released and healed and reclaimed inside of yourself, and then you can move forward past this in a much more clear, focused, and present state than perhaps you're in right now. So it's like a doorway, right? Okay, so Margie said, oh, hey, Sherry Lynn. So Sherry Lynn said, discipline is self-love. Yes. And Margie said, totally feeling the Capricorn, definitely working to structure myself and set up systems. The days always take me. I need to be more intentional. Yes. So that will probably, this is a great time to be working on that. And that whole axis, that's what I think the major themes are going to be for us. So I have some time to pull a couple of cards, and if you would like a card, just put a heart in the comment, and I will pull a card for you. I'm not going to go super in depth with the card readings. I'll just give you your message, and this is intention. The intention of these cards is for your Mercury retrograde, okay? And then I will share a little bit about the new name of the group and some things that are shifting here at my company, and I'm excited to tell you guys about that. So, okay, Erica. So by the way, like I said, this is the Magical Dimensions deck by Lightstar. And I enjoy this deck a lot. So I'm going to just read it to you. There's keywords for each, and then, you can take it with you. And if you join us inside of feedback, we'll be doing lots more intuitive, like I said, channeled practices to help you really stay centered and really maximize and leverage this retrograde for yourself. So, we might work more with these cards as well. So, okay, this is for Erica Regis Williams. Okay. So actually, I just have to make sure that these are in the correct order. Some are like flipped, whatever. Okay, let's see. And I haven't worked with these in quite a while, but they definitely called out to me today, so I'm excited. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right, Erica, ready? So I'm going to pull for Erica, Sherry, Margie, Libby. Okay, perfect. Okay, so Erica, the card that I pulled for you. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, it very much aligns with Cancer, Mercury retrograding Cancer. So the card is called Emotional Freedom. Didn't you just say that? Okay, vulnerability, flowing, and rebalancing. And it's a woman in the water. Then there's mountains, so that represents Capricorn. So that's your card, Erica. Okay. All right. The next card is going to be for Sherry Lynn. Let me know if these resonate with you guys. Sherry Lynn, here's your card. Oh my God. It's the same card. And I definitely shuffled it like really well. Okay, same card. That's weird. That's never happened in terms of like a live. Okay, Sherry Lynn, you got the exact same card. And it wasn't because I didn't shuffle well. I definitely did. And I like chose it from like not the middle. It's crazy. So emotional freedom, vulnerability, flowing, and rebalancing. Love that. Okay. Interesting. Double card. Okay, Margie, I'm going to pull this card for you. Might be our collective card. Okay, Margie. Oh, wow. This is so interesting. Okay, so Margie, this card, I've never pulled this, but it's the Promise. And it's soulmates, attraction, and partnership. So that's the card. Sorry if the camera's not so great. I'm trying to like focus it. Okay. Yes. Just freaking own it, Erica. Don't be afraid. You know, life is like the tide. So give yourself away like the sea, which is from Y tu mamá también, the movie, which is like my favorite quote ever. You know, we don't, like, we have to go into the ocean, do you know what I mean? But we don't have to drown. We can swim, and it can be very beautiful. I think it is a rose. Yes, there were red roses on there for sure. Okay. Libby. Oh my God. This is the card I chose for Libby, and this card has come up in the past a few times for me. Galactic Guidance. So this is your star family, assistance, and cooperation. Okay. Super interesting. And I think that was everybody who asked for a card, but I like to usually do a group one for everybody, for the replay viewers as well, and for just our whole group. This is for all of us. Oh my God. Okay. Higher perspective, the cosmos, awakening, and unity. So this is the card for all of us for this Mercury retrograde. Is it like zooming? I'm sorry, guys. I'm in New York. I can't. My eyebrow, like the nail salons and stuff are still closed. We're still not in phase 3. So my nails, my eyebrow, I'm like doing my best here, but I love that card so much. Higher perspective. Amazing. Okay. So now I wanted to share with you guys just a little bit of, like I was saying, behind the scenes of what's going on over here. So as you know, I changed the name of the group, and you know, I've been working behind the scenes with Vika and my team for a little while on some shifts that I've been really feeling called to make. So it's nothing major. The thing is that I have a Pisces midheaven, as some of you may know, and the thing that I've come to realize, the awakening that I've had recently, and this has been, you know, ongoing, but it's been getting stronger and stronger, is that, oh yes, au natural, thank you, Margie. The thing that like has been really coming through for me is like, I'm not just a business coach, and nothing against business coaches or anything like that. It's just that I recognize that working strictly in business has been very limiting for me, and I was like I was like literally trying to fit a lot into the business box, where that's just not my truth. So my real truth is that I am here to really speak to many, 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 many people and have a much broader platform and message with my Pisces midheaven and with, Aquarius and Pisces being my dominant signs. It does not mean I'm not doing business. That's not at all. It's just that Exalted Entrepreneur is now one aspect of my company. It's one track. So the Exalted Entrepreneur brand is under my greater brand of Daphne Simone LLC. And yes, I am still a business coach. I love business coaching. I love working with entrepreneurs. I love helping people run their businesses and do the strategy and do all the things. But that's not the only thing I'm here for. And so opening this up more is giving myself that permission to speak to more people about more things through my astrology work and through my channeled messages and things like that, and through my what I want to share and what I want to do. So that's why I changed the name. I'm going to be starting the podcast called She's Cosmic, and it's about your life. It's about your whole being, not just your business. It's about really tapping into the inner cosmos, the cosmos inside of you, to create what you want for your business, for your life, for, whatever it is that you're wanting to manifest, right? There's really no limit. So I'm just removing that limitation and going with it. And so, you'll be seeing a lot more from me about like all different kinds of things, not just business. Yes, still business, but I love helping people with their confidence, with their self-worth, with, the inner energy work of like embracing all of who they are, with balancing themselves and, activating certain parts of themselves, reclaiming certain parts of themselves for whatever ends, right? It doesn't just have to be for business and stuff like that. So I'm really excited. And honestly, this has been, like something that's been a difficult thing for me for a long time. And the more I would focus in on just business, just business, just business, it did not feel true to myself, and it never felt fully me, you know what I'm saying? And so I recognized that, and I had to go within, and I had to do a lot of like healing and releasing and recognizing where my ego was like totally running the show. And now, I'm just not afraid anymore. Like, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I've always done. It's just that I'm allowing it to really shine through in my business with no limits. So I'm so excited. I really, really am. I'm going to be doing more programs such as feedback, which is a Mercury Retrograde, whatever inspired things come up for me. That, like, basically how I live with astrology and work with it for myself is what I want to share with you guys. And, obviously Eminence is like, I love Eminence so much. I love my business clients so much, and I'm deeply, deeply passionate, and I'm really good at business coaching, but that doesn't mean that's the only thing I can do or will do, right? So it's very, very much about me just being like, you know what, I want to embrace all of myself. So obviously I'm still going to be having Eminence. I'm still going to do business programs. We're shifting Plugged In a bit, which we'll talk more about, in a few months. It's going to be a little bit more universal. But it's really time for me to stop trying to put myself into a box. That's what it is. And so I'm going to do more programs like feedback. I'm going to be doing things about like working with the different signs and virtues and planets to create, various things, or heal certain things, or receive certain things in your life. Like we did Venus back a few months ago, for just like receiving and being more in your feminine energy. So we're going to do that with the different planets. So we have a lot coming, a lot in the cauldron. Thank you guys. Thanks for the support. It's always a little scary when you change things. Not for me as much. I have the Gemini, so I'm not like I'm very used to changing. But then I started making a whole story about, that I'm not allowed to change because it's like you have to be super consistent. But that's not true at all. Your gift is your gift. And when you embody your chart, you are being who you're meant to be in this world. So for me to, try to fit myself into a box with my chart, which is like the biggest splash chart I've ever seen, meaning it's all I literally, if you look at my chart, I have something in every house pretty much. So I am very multidimensional that way. I'm very much, just a lot more of a broad person like that. So I was like, I have to be my own best client too. You know what I'm saying? And like sometimes it's so easy to tell other people and to share it and help other people to do the things that are so powerful and such great things, but we have to apply to ourselves. Hey Stella, nobody puts baby in the corner. Exactly. And so, for me, it was the risk. Okay, I was like, well, if I change, what are people going to think? But that paled in comparison to, well, how is this going to empower my sisters and my community, and how is this going to show them that it's never a mistake. You can't mess up. You really can't mess up is what the truth is. As long as you're staying in alignment with your inner self and you're trusting that, and you're listening to the voice within, which is like telling you, through inner and outer messages and communication, then you can't mess it up. So yesterday I was like, you know what, because I had that horrible typo in the in the group name. It was driving me nuts. And I was like, this is the time, and the moon was in Aries, so I'm really, really excited. And like I said, it's not like it's not like I was gonna write like a rebirth, but it's not that. It's not that. I was telling Vika, it's not like a rebirth or a change or a new Daphne and a new this or that. It's just me being who I was always meant to be, and kind of just removing like layer of limitation. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm so excited about it, and I really do hope that it inspires you on any level to do maybe something that scares you just a little bit, or that you feel like, well, what are people going to think? Well, just do it, honestly, because nobody, the people who really are your soulmate people are going to always support you, and that's really the truth. And because you're so connected, and I've really felt that, and it's been a very, very emotional, powerful time for me to let go of and to really just witness and recognize where I was saying no to myself, even though I didn't think I was. So it's just been really interesting, and I'm so grateful to be able to share it with you guys. And, my bigger vision for this is, like I said, I want to make the podcast, which is going to be much more of like a universal, just working with astrology for that inner self-love and inner cosmos, honoring that inside of herself, and you can create anything from that place. And then, whatever wants to come out from there is, I'm just here for it. So I am so excited, and I'm really, really just so grateful for all of you. And I know that we're all going to have an amazing Mercury retrograde, and I can't wait for those of you who decide to join us in feedback. I know you're going to thank yourself for saying yes to it. It's going to be a fantastic experience. Last time I ran it, it really, really was. And I've shared with you guys that I have been able to now use Mercury retrograde. Not use, but work with and dance with Mercury retrograde to really, just keep getting better and keep honoring myself more and keep growing and keep, like just rising up more into who I really am. And I shared with you guys that we're moving to Sedona in like just 6 weeks. So it's a very powerful time for me personally. And if you're feeling called to do this work together, I would be more than honored to walk this edge with you and walk through that portal with you. But in either case, I know that we're going to have a fantastic retrograde, and I'm just really excited and so grateful that I can do this work with all of you guys here. So I love you all so very much. You really are sisters to me. And every day that I come in here and I come into my space, I just count my lucky stars that, you know, we get to do this work together, and that I have all of you in my life and that I can contribute in some way to yours. So, oh my God, yeah, Stella, you were born during Mercury retrograde. That's amazing. So I always think about it like that, like, babies who are going to be coming into the world over like this next couple of weeks, or, till July, whatever it was, 26th, 27th. They're all coming in during the Mercury retrograde. So, like Stella and others who were born during Mercury retrograde, they're going to be really creative beings, and they're going to be, the way that they're going to process information is going to be highly intuitive, highly, like it's almost like the subconscious, and this goes for you, Stella, as well. Your subconscious mind is really at the forefront. So you're the artists of the world. You're the seers of the world. You're the ones who see things in that like a different way, from a different angle, and you then can share those teachings with others to help us all access our truth and access the things that are hidden from us in the conscious. Um, and it's really very powerful. So every time I meet someone who's born during Mercury retrograde, I get really excited because that's a special gift. So I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you guys in the group here soon. As far as the group, this is your space, so whatever you want to share, please share. It's not just business anymore, but it is still for business. So it's really just a space overall for connecting to the cosmos, connecting to astrology, working with these. If there's something I shared, or there's something from the podcast, or something you even read or heard from somebody else that you want to bring to the circle, that's the vision that I have for this space. I want it to be the space that you can step into when you need or want to feel like you're like hanging out in the cosmos. Like that's what I want. I want it to feel like a lounge in which you get to come and just tap into that higher self, like the card I pulled, that higher perspective, and just get to be yourself. And so, share whatever you feel, and I'm so excited. And thank you guys. I'll see you soon. Have an amazing rest of your day.